Who was Joseph DiCarlo? In his day, he was called the Al Capone of Buffalo, and a late Prohibition-era Buffalo police commissioner labeled him public enemy number one. Joseph DiCarlo was the son of Western New York's earliest known Sicilian underworld boss. His father, Giuseppe DiCarlo, reached the United States at the dawn of the 20th century. After settling briefly in New York City, Giuseppe relocated his family to the city of Buffalo. With the likely endorsement of his mafia contacts in New York City, Giuseppe DiCarlo proceeded to organize the Sicilian criminal enterprises in the region under his command. Giuseppe was aided in his efforts by Angelo Palmieri, a mafioso from the Sicilian community of Castellammare del Golfo. The two men became close friends, partnering in business and sharing a home in Buffalo. And in 1913 they even became distant relatives, as Palmieri married a cousin of Giuseppe's wife. When Giuseppe died in 1922, some in the Mafia Society of Western New York supported Joseph DiCarlo, then 21, as heir to his father's underworld empire. Ultimately, however, Joseph DiCarlo was deemed too young and irresponsible for the role. Angelo Palmieri briefly oversaw mafia operations in the Buffalo area until his Castellammare's countryman, Stefano Magaddino, arrived in Western New York and agreed to take over the responsibilities. Magaddino grew wealthy and powerful during the Prohibition era. In 1932, he became a leading figure in the Mafia of the United States when he was chosen as member of the Underworld Society's National Commission. DiCarlo and his underworld associates functioned for a time as vassals of the Niagara Falls-based Magaddino, but the relationship was both uncomfortable and unprofitable. Without his father's devoted protection, DiCarlo found himself repeatedly arrested and imprisoned. By the middle of the 1940s, the DiCarlo gang had had enough of working for the Magaddino crime family and began moving in on gambling rackets in the Youngstown, Ohio area. DiCarlo also attempted to establish himself in Miami Beach, Florida. Wherever he went, he was quickly identified by police and kept under close scrutiny. Early in the 1960s, DiCarlo and brother-in-law Sam Pieri began organizing rackets in their old home city of Buffalo. Both men had established ties with the Profaci crime family in New York City. While serving time in prison, Pieri also had become close to the leadership of the powerful Genovese crime family. Later in the decade, they were well positioned to pry the Buffalo underworld from the grasp of the aging Stefano Magaddino, but they required an acceptable pretext for their actions. Magaddino greed and an opportune action by law enforcement combined to provide DiCarlo and Pieri with the justification they needed to pull away from their boss. Magaddino, pleading poverty, demanded larger portions of underworld revenues and eliminated bonuses he had previously paid to his lieutenants. A short time later, in November 1968, the FBI raided the home of Magaddino's son, Peter, and found nearly $500,000 hidden in a bedroom wall. When the FBI announced its discovery, Buffalo underworld leadership began cutting all ties to Magaddino. Sam Pieri became the leading figure in the new Buffalo crime family, with DiCarlo his chief advisor. In 1970, the FBI noted that Joseph DiCarlo, who had always held the ambition to become the dominant criminal leader in the Buffalo area, was, quote, achieving his goal by directing the hands and feet of Pieri. DiCarlo, Buffalo's first family of crime, is the historical biography of Joseph DiCarlo. In 2 volumes, the book chronicles a century of family history and related developments in the American Mafia. The authors use DiCarlo's colorful and violent life story as a window into the history of the Magaddino criminal organization and the Mafia network in the United States.